Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com. And continuing along with all our other shingling videos that we have, we just thought we should maybe do one on this mock-up just to look at the step flashing a little bit. So step flashing is basically a right angle piece of metal, could be galvanized, could be colored, whatever, that would go against anywhere where a roof butts into a wall such as we have here. So this, this could be a dormer, this could be, maybe this is your garage roof, this is the wall of the house, whatever, you get the idea. So basically what the flashing does is it goes under the end of every row of shingles to help direct any water or any rain or anything that gets up underneath there, directs it back out and onto the shingle below. So typical situation is, you're gonna have this roof which butts into a wall. This could be a front of a dormer or something like that. So then you might have a front wall as well. So you'd shingle your roof up until you get to that point, same as always, which is what these shingles are. This area here needs a piece of flashing that once these shingles are on, this piece will go against the wall before any siding or stucco or anything. It goes against the wall, and when the house wrap goes on, the house wrap overlaps onto here and gets taped. That way any moisture that gets behind the exterior finish can run down the house wrap onto this flashing, out across this piece which would be exposed on the roof, and then out onto the shingles and away. If you didn't have this, it could just run right down the wall, and to try to seal this with just tar or something, this joint back here, you're just going to have a spot that's going to be a leak. So that's why you want this flashing. So on this flashing, it kind of goes along usually in the step flashing situations. You don't want any nails down into here if you can avoid it. If you have to, you could put the odd one right as far out as you can, but I would try to avoid it at all costs. Keep your nails on the wall up nice and high so that you got at least an inch of metal here with no kind of protrusions through it. Okay, so we've got that piece on there. Basically we're saying we have our roof shingled up to this point. And we've kind of got to the point where we're going to need a piece of step flashing. Okay, so our next shingle, and it might be a full shingle, might be a cut piece, whatever, is going to go against the wall like this, right? And in this case, the height is going to be about like that. But now, what's protecting this gap here, protecting moisture from getting in there, maybe running down the wall behind the siding or just driving rain or whatever, from getting in and going down through the roof decking? It's almost impossible to seal this with any kind of sealant, tar or anything, and make it last any amount of time. So what you need is a piece of step flashing. So as you get this row on, this step flashing would get nailed to the wall and sitting down just so the very bottom end of it protrudes past where this upper shingle would be. So in effect you want basically that kind of a look. Now in our case, because this is our first one, this piece here that projects from the front of this wall, normally I would just take snips, trim it up a little bit, and then bend it around the corner and tack it with a nail. Okay, so if this was our piece here, once you've kind of determined how much of the step flashing you're going to have hanging out, and I would say about 1/2 inch is usually good, you can where's my nail? You basically just want to tack it into place. Okay, so you can take that piece, get it where you want it, come up high on the wall here. If you're doing a re-roofing job, I would highly recommend if this is siding on here that you remove that siding and replace your step flashing. A lot of guys will just strip the old shingles off, bend the step flashing up, because it's a lot of work to pull your siding off. They'll re-roof the roof and reuse that step flashing, but you hardly ever see it that the step flashing, the old stuff, lines up perfectly where it should be in your new roofing job. So you're better off to remove some of the siding here, pull the old step flashing off, and install all new stuff. Okay, so you want to nail that to the wall, nail it up nice and high. A lot of guys will be tempted to put a nail in down here. I try to avoid that if you can at all costs. It's just one more protrusion through that metal. So then your row of shingle would go on here. More times than not, you're going to have one nail through this flashing anyways, in the the actual shingle row that you're working on. Okay, so we nail our shingle. And then we're ready for our next step flashing. So same thing, we just get it on here, get it down to the distance that we decide we're going to use, tack it in place, get in there, and then put our row of shingle on. Okay, so you can see as we go up, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. I'm going to do one more here. I've got my distance off a little bit on my reveal, but I'm actually using a couple different types of shingles here, so I'm kind of guessing a little bit. And throw another one up there. Okay, so you just continue all the way up until you run out of wall here. So like I said, this, I'm a little bit low here, but normally this I would just bend it around the corner. I'd probably have to do a little snip here to make it look right. Bend that around the corner. Usually put a nail in it here. Shingle your roof all off, and then now if you're doing siding or something, you can snap a line and run a J channel right along here and put your siding in, or whatever type of siding you're using. It really just depends. Usually if it's siding, I'll keep my J channel up about an inch or so off the shingle area there, so just gives a little bit of clearance, keeps ice from building up. Okay, so that's your basic step flashing. So again, the reason is rain drives in here, gets past the shingle in this joint here against the wall, but then it ends up on top of this metal and can run out and down. It just basically keeps it away from running in this joint that would be up here where the roof and the wall meet. If you want to, you could be putting a little bit of tar, dab of tar just to hold those down, but most times they're just going to stick down to the metal anyways once they get a bit of heat of the sun on them. Okay, so fairly basic, but it's crucial. If you don't do this, you're going to have a leak. There's just no two ways about it. So you definitely want to use step flashing anytime you have a roof butting into a vertical surface like this. Okay, so hopefully that gave you all the information you needed to do step flashing on your own project, and if it didn't, just come to the forum and post your question there, and I can for sure give you an answer from there. If you aren't totally sick of listening to me talk, you can also come to Facebook. I'm always posting stuff up on Facebook, Twitter. Follow us along there as well with the social media. Thanks a lot for watching.